Imagine this. One day, your body begins to speak in whispers, not with words, but with signs, subtle signs, signs that your time on this earth is running out, signs that your journey is almost over. And here is the shocking truth. Most people never notice these signs until it is too late. Today, I want to take you on a journey into the final days of life, where the body quietly prepares for death. I will show you 7 powerful signs that your death may be near. Some of them may surprise you. Some may even scare you. But once you know them, you will never look at life the same way again. I strongly recommend watching this entire video without skipping any section, as each sign builds upon the previous one. And by the time we reach the last one, you will understand death in a way you never imagined. Before I continue, kindly hit that subscribe button, like, and share this video with your loved ones. Thank you. Now, let's start with the very first sign. Sign 1. The disappearance of appetite and thirst. The first sign is the loss of desire for food and water. At first, it seems small. Maybe you push away a plate, saying you are not hungry. Maybe a sip of water feels too heavy. But slowly it grows. The meals that once gave you strength lose all meaning. Why does this happen? Because the body knows what the mind refuses to accept. It no longer needs fuel. The great engine of life begins to shut down. Digestion, once so important, is no longer a priority. Every ounce of energy is being saved for something greater, the final act of letting go. If you've ever watched someone nearing death, you may have seen this. Families often worry. They beg their loved one to eat, to drink, to take just one more spoonful of soup. But the truth is, the body has already made its decision. Food becomes a burden, water a struggle. The hunger and thirst of life fade away. This is not cruelty. It is mercy. It is the body's way of easing itself into silence. It is the first whisper of goodbye. Sign 2. The weight of endless sleep. The second sign is a deep, overwhelming tiredness. It begins slowly, like a gentle fog rolling across the mind. Days turn into endless naps, nights into silent drifting. Soon, waking becomes rare. The person spends more time in dreams than in reality. Why? Because the body is conserving its last drops of energy. The spark of life is burning low, and rest becomes the only comfort. Imagine this. The world grows quieter, softer. The voices around you sound distant, like echoes from another room. Sleep pulls you down, deeper and deeper, until even the act of opening your eyes feels impossible. To families, this can be heartbreaking. They want conversation. They want to hold on to every word. But the person is slipping, gently, into another state. One where time, sound, and space no longer matter. This endless sleep is not a failure. It is a bridge, a soft passage from one world into the next. Sign 3. The skin tells its story. The third sign is written on the skin. Once warm and full of color, the skin begins to change. The hands grow cold. The feet turn icy. Strange patterns appear, blotches of blue, purple, or gray, like marble carved into the flesh. Why does this happen? Because the blood, the river of life, is retreating. No longer does it flow freely to every corner of the body. Instead, it rushes inward, protecting only the most vital organs for as long as it can. The hands and feet are the first to lose warmth. The nose, the ears, the fingertips, they grow cold, as if touched by winter itself. The color fades, the glow disappears. The skin begins to reveal what the heart already knows. The end is close. This sight can be startling, but it is nature's handwriting, etched upon the body. A message, clear and final. Life is pulling inward, preparing to let go. Sign 4. Breathing becomes a stranger. The fourth sign is the breath. Breathing, once so natural and unnoticed, begins to change. It may come in long, heavy sighs, then pause, as if forgotten, then return again, shallow and uneven. Sometimes there is a sound, a rattling, gurgling noise, as though the body is struggling with every breath. This is often called the death rattle. It is the sound of fluids collecting, of muscles no longer strong enough to swallow or clear the throat. For loved ones, this can be the hardest to hear. It sounds painful, frightening, but for the person dying, it is rarely uncomfortable. It is simply the body's rhythm as it loosens its grip. Breath is the very song of life. And when that song begins to falter, when it stumbles and breaks, It means the silence of death is drawing near. Sign 5. The mind wanders away. The fifth sign is not in the body, but in the mind. Confusion sets in. The dying person may not recognize familiar faces. They may speak to people who are no longer alive. They may see things no one else can see. Time itself begins to unravel. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, it all blends together. A simple question may bring only silence, or a strange, wandering answer. Why does this happen? Because the brain, like the rest of the body, is starved of oxygen and blood. The door between this world and the next begins to crack open, and the person seems to drift between both. Families often whisper, they're seeing angels, or they spoke to mother, who died years ago. Whether you believe in visions or not, one thing is clear. The mind is preparing to let go of this world. And sometimes, in those last moments of confusion, there is also peace. The person is no longer bound by the weight of reality. They are already halfway to somewhere else. Sign 6. Control slips away. The sixth sign is the loosening of control. Muscles weaken. The body no longer holds itself as it once did. Bladder and bowels release without warning. Dignity, once guarded, is surrendered. This may feel undignified to those who watch, but it is natural. The body is simply letting go of its functions, one by one. Even urine, once golden and plentiful, becomes dark, scarce, and then disappears. The kidneys slow, the organs shut down. This is the moment when families realize how fragile the human frame truly is. The body is no longer a servant of the will. It has become a vessel, emptying itself before the end. And though it may look like loss, it is simply another step in the body's journey towards silence. Sign 7. The final surge, then silence. And then comes the seventh sign, the final twist in the story of death. It can happen in two ways. Sometimes, there is a sudden burst of energy. The person who has been silent and weak may suddenly wake. They may ask for food, smile, laugh, or speak with clarity. Families feel joy. They think a miracle has come. But often, this is the body's last gift, one final spark before the flame dies. Other times, there is no surge, just a slow, steady fading. Breaths grow further apart. Movements cease. The silence deepens until there is nothing left but stillness. This is the final sign. The moment when life, after so many whispers and warnings, finally lets go. Conclusion. And so, these are the 7 signs. The fading of hunger and thirst. The surrender to endless sleep. The skin growing cold. The breath breaking apart. The mind wandering. The body losing control. And finally, the surge, or the silence. These signs are not meant to terrify, but to reveal. Death is not sudden. It is a process, a journey, a quiet preparation for what lies beyond. And if you listen closely, if you pay attention, you will see that death is not an enemy sneaking in the dark. It is a patient visitor, announcing its arrival one sign at a time. So, the next time you notice these signs, in yourself, in someone you love, remember, this is not just the end. It is the doorway to something greater. Life whispers, life fades, and then life transforms.